The FBI is all talk while they focus on the sitting president's political opponents. That's what they're doing. They spend so much time. We won the case in Florida. It's all a big scam. It's all against a political opponent, me, who's doing better in the polls than anybody else and should be hopefully able to recapture the presidency in 41 days and make our country great again. But all they focus on is their political opponent. But they must get Apple to open these foreign apps, and they must get Apple to likewise open the 6 phones from the second lunatic, who's a lunatic, and open them immediately, because we have a lot at stake, whether it's me or any other former president. They break into apps all the time. They had no problem breaking into the apps of the J6 hostages. They broke into those apps. And they could be Iran-based. They could also be something else. But we'll never know until they're opened, and they got to get them opened. And really, why is it that the father of the shooter in the Butler instance has one of the best and most expensive lawyers in the entire state of Pennsylvania? How did he get to this expensive lawyer, big law firm, the biggest in Pittsburgh? Where did he get this big law firm from? It's sort of strange. If I were president and a former president and a leading candidate, I'm the leading candidate by far to be the next president. And that leading candidate was under threat. If I was president and the candidate was under threat, any candidate, Republican or Democrat, and by the way, I want to thank the Democrats because they just increased funding for the Secret Service, who work very hard. They increased funding for the Secret Service, and nobody will believe this. It was a unanimous vote. Republicans, every single Republican, every single Democrat present voted in favor. That was the first unanimous vote we've seen in a long time, and that's to increase the funding of the Secret Service. So I thank everybody in Congress. But if I were the president, I would inform the threatening country, in this case Iran, that if you do anything to harm this person, we are going to blow your largest cities and the country itself to smithereens. We're going to blow it to smithereens. You can't do that. And there would be no more threats. There would be no more threats. But right now, we don't have that leadership or the necessary people, the necessary leaders. We have 2 people, not one. We don't even know who our president is right now. Who is our president right now? We really don't know, but we have 2 people, not one, that only keep looking. And when you do that, when you just look, trouble always ensues. So it's big trouble for our country. Meanwhile, we have the president of Iran in our country this week. We have large security forces guarding him, and yet they're threatening our former president and the leading candidate to become the next president of the United States. Certainly a strange set of circumstances. Around the world, our enemies are desperate to prevent Donald Trump from returning to the White House because they know I will make America great again. They don't want that. 4 years ago, our country was feared and respected, and our country will soon be feared and respected again. We have to have that. And that's why we all need to pull together to thwart these attempts and to bring back American strength, power, and prestige. We will soon have it back. No threat will shake me. No enemy will intimidate me. And I have never been more determined than I am today, and I will never back down in my fight to make America great again, which is what we're doing. So I want to make that statement because we are under threat. I have been threatened very directly, and I appreciate the agencies that we've been meeting with, but we've been threatened very directly by Iran. And I think you have to let them know, because the best way to do it is through the office of the president, that you do any attacks on former presidents or candidates for president, your country gets blown to smithereens, as we say. 41 days from now, we are going to win the state of North Carolina. We are going to defeat Comrade Kamala Harris, and we are going to take back our country. We're going to take it back. Yesterday, I was in Georgia, a great place, to outline my plan for an American manufacturing renaissance. That's what we're doing. We got tremendous reviews on that speech. Now today, Kamala Harris is supposedly announcing her so-called plans to support manufacturing and wealth creation. Why didn't she do it 3.5 years ago? They've done nothing. Why didn't she do everything 3.5 years ago? She's been there for almost 4 years, and she didn't do it. She didn't create wealth. She did a machine that's been horribly run by either corrupt or very stupid politicians. And it's been allowed to be dissipated, absolutely dissipated. But it's like a company that you see it, you buy it, you change it, and you make a fortune. And oftentimes the seller of those companies will come back to me and come back to others and say, why the hell didn't I see that? Happens. I've had a lot of jobs like that. You take it and it becomes a tremendous success. And the seller would call me and say, congratulations, I never saw what you saw. You know, they talk about the paperclip. The paperclip is a very simple thing. A lot of people say, gee, why didn't I think of that? The United States of America is going to be by far the most successful country anywhere in the world, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to do things that nobody will believe, and it's so simple, and it's going to happen fast. We're going to do great things for the citizens of our country. We're going to make an absolute fortune for the American people. I think it's okay to say that. It's about time, because we've been given and giving away our country to foreign countries for so long. They've been ripping us off for so long. And now it's going to be the exact opposite. And we're not going to rip them off. We're just going to take back what was ours and then some. The centerpiece of my plan for a manufacturing renaissance will be a 15% made in America tax rate. You have to make it in America. So the tax rate is going down to 15% if your product is made in America, like this product is made in America. So I brought the business tax rate from 39% to 21%, the biggest decrease, biggest cut in taxes in the history of our country. And people said that that was impossible to get done, but I got it done, and I got it actually passed in Congress, so it cannot be changed easily, even though they want to change it and raise it way back up and lose all your jobs. If she gets in, they're going to want to make it 38, 40, maybe even 50%. I got it done. I got it approved in Congress, and we did more business and created more jobs during that period than at any time in our country's history. Now I'm taking it a step further. We're going to bring the 21% rate, which everyone said we could never get, down to 15%, but only if you manufacture your product here in the USA, just like you did when you were the furniture capital of the world. That's why those furniture companies, and you still have your craftsmen here, unfortunately, they're doing other jobs that they don't want to be doing. They love making furniture. I know the furniture guys. They don't want to be doing other jobs. They want to be making furniture. They're artists. Those people are going to be coming back into the furniture business. Then, next, I'm imposing tariffs on your competition from foreign countries, all these foreign countries that have ripped us off, which stole all of your businesses and all of your jobs years ago and took your businesses out, so that now they won't be able to compete with North Carolina or businesses in any other state in our once great country, soon to be greater than ever before country. All of your furniture makers are going to come back, and come back bigger and stronger and better than ever before. They're mostly gone. They're all coming back. This is why people in countries want to kill me. They're not happy with me. It's a risky business. This is why they want to kill me. They only kill consequential presidents, remember that. But this is why, if you're one of the countries that's affected, you're not happy with what I'm saying. When they used to say they like Barack Hussein Obama, of course they do, because he did nothing to help us. When they like Biden, who doesn't know he's alive, of course they like him, because he does nothing to bring your businesses back. He lets the world rob our country, the robber barons. He lets them rob and steal from our country, and most importantly, he lets them take our jobs. U.S.-based manufacturers will also be able to write off 100% of the cost of heavy machinery and other equipment in the fiscal year. So you got the greatest thing in the world. You're going to have protection from them coming in, because we're going to put on from 50 to 200% tariffs. You're going to be protected. Your companies are going to come in. They're going to pay a low tax rate and a really low tax rate if they make their product in America, which is what we want to do, because we're creating jobs like no other country would be able to create jobs. By contrast, listen to the deal that Kamala Harris is offering to companies to keep jobs in America. First, the tax queen, they call it the tax queen because she's a big tax raiser, is demanding a 33% tax hike on all domestic production. That means those companies are leaving. That's all it means. You know, these are companies that are smart, and they owe it to their shareholders or their families or whoever owns the company. They'll leave. They have to leave. So she wants to increase their taxes. They're already leaving, and she wants to increase. That means they're gone. Do we agree, North Carolina? The ladies of North Carolina agree. That's not a tough one, though. You've had tougher questions than that. No, she wants to raise the taxes on businesses, so now they can all leave. Next, she wants the largest capital gains tax in the history of our country. And then she is promising a brand new wealth confiscation tax, or unrealized capital gains tax. In other words, unrealized. You know what that means? That means, you know, a lot of people are rich, but they don't have cash because they're spending it in their business and other things. That means they're going to have to sell their business in order to get cash, because she's taxing you and you haven't done anything. The only one going to make a lot of money are going to be the appraisers, the accountants, and the lawyers. That will drive our country into a depression like in 1929. In addition, Kamala is shutting down power plants nationwide, causing electricity prices to soar by more than 100%. You know, your energy costs are much too high right now. And she's going to be lifting them by at least 100%. And she'll close down all fracking and all fossil fuel development. She's been saying it for years. So she had 15 different policies that she's changed. And over the years, I've been, you know, into politics, but mostly on the other side, like writing checks for politicians. Campaign contributions, extremely legal, but I've been on the other side, campaign contributions. And I've seen on occasion a politician make one change in policy, maybe two. She's made 15. She wants to confiscate your guns. She wants to do this. She wants to that. She wants, absolutely, there will be no fracking. She said it all over the place. You got to see 2018, 2019, there will be no fracking in this. Now she's saying, oh, fracking would be fine. She was in charge of the defund the police movement. You know, she's a radical left person. Her father is a Marxist professor. He teaches what his daughter is now trying to teach you. No, we don't want Marxists to be running our country, because it's a short way to, we pass socialism. We never had socialism. I always said, we will not ever be a socialist country. And I was right, because they skipped socialism. They went down to communism. I was right. Got to keep myself right. No, we skipped socialism. This is unbelievable that this woman is running. She's a communist. Her views are communist. She destroyed San Francisco. The greatest city in this country 15, 20 years ago was San Francisco. She destroyed San Francisco as DA. She destroyed California as the Attorney General. She was Attorney General of California. She destroyed it. Most beautiful place on earth. Best weather, beautiful ocean, and everything. And now you look at it, look at what it's done. And Gavin Newsom has done a terrible job. He's a terrible governor. She's destroyed it, and she'll destroy the United States of America if she becomes president. And all those things that she wanted. You know, a politician always goes back to where they came from. Defund the police. Think of it. She headed up to fund the police for years. She was one of the originators of defund the police. Anybody that wants to defund the police and is a party to that even for one day has no right to be the President of the United States. Right? Under my plan, we will cut energy and electricity prices in half, not only for businesses, but for our great young ladies from North Carolina. Your prices, they're pretty rich people, I think. I don't think it's going to matter to them, but it's going to matter to a lot. Will cutting the energy prices mean anything to you ladies? Still good, right? It's money. But we're going to cut it in half, not only for your businesses, but for everybody. Within 12 months, we will double our electricity capacity to compete with China and other countries on artificial intelligence. You know, people don't know the AI, artificial intelligence, is a big thing. Everybody wants it. China's already building massive electric plants. To be able to compete, you need more than double the electricity that you already have in this country, or you can't compete. It is an electricity-eating monster. And we're going to be able to do that, and we'll be more than able to compete. We're going to be able to get it done, but not if somebody else is president. It'll be a disaster. To slash burdens on workers and businesses, we will cut 10 old regulations for every one new regulation. So I cut more regulations during my 4-year term than any other president in history during any term. And we're going to keep it going. Some of them have been put back by Biden and Harris. And to the auto workers of our country, we love you. I am pinpointing you for greatness. China is right now building major auto plants in Mexico. They didn't start them with me. They knew that it wasn't going to work with me. As soon as I left, they started building. And they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States and destroy Michigan, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, a lot of other places where they make autos or auto parts. And it's not going to happen. We will put a 100% tariff on every single car that they want to come across our border, and tell them only that they'll get rid of the tariff under one circumstance: if you build your plant, not in Mexico, but into the United States, and use our people as your workers. I will bring automobile manufacturing back to the highest level in the history of our country. We will be like it was 50 years ago when there was virtually nobody else to compete with us. We're going to bring back the automobile manufacturing at a level that we haven't seen before in many, many years, maybe never. Vote Trump, and you will see a mass exodus of manufacturing from China to Pennsylvania. You haven't heard that too much. From Germany to Georgia, from South Korea to North Carolina, you're going to see a tremendous exodus the other way. You haven't seen that. We were getting ready to do it, and then a lot of bad things happened. We did much better, by the way, in the election of 2020 than we did in 2016. Just remember that. Millions and millions of votes more. More votes than any sitting president in the history of our country. But they beat us by a whisker. They beat us just by a little whisker. He beat us from the basement. As we save our economy, we will also seal the border and stop the migrant invasion into our country. It's the greatest invasion that we've ever had into our country. What they've done to our country is incredible, and what they're doing to our country. Under Border Czar Harris, millions and millions of people are pouring in right now from all over the world, prisons, jails, insane asylums, mental institutions, terrorists, all at record levels. We've never had anything like this. And, you know, I feel so sorry for the towns and the cities where they are. They're causing havoc, and the mayors always want to be politically correct. One particular, I don't want to embarrass him, but one particular mayor is saying, we're looking for translators because the people speak no English. So they're looking, you shouldn't be looking for translators. You should be looking for people to take them out of our country and bring them back from where they came, because your town and city is being destroyed. The 21 million illegals she let in are now creating havoc throughout the country. Aurora, Colorado, and Springfield, Ohio are just two examples. What they're going through in those places, it's unbelievable. I mean, they're literally taking over those towns. They're taking over hundreds, those are 2 years, hundreds of towns and cities throughout our country, including the big ones. Look at New York. All of the people, what's happened to the quality of life. The quality of life is a whole different deal. Chicago, take a look at what's happening in Chicago. Look at L.A. Look at what's happening in Los Angeles. They're taking over your cities, your big ones, your small ones, your towns. It's not sustainable by anybody. Yet after almost 4 years, Border Czar Kamala Harris has reportedly decided that for political reasons, that it's finally time for her to visit the southern border. So think of it. She was the border czar for almost 4 years. She's never been there. She went to one little area, but I'd like to go there too with our great First Lady and have a nice lunch. This was not the border that she should be looking at. I can tell you the real border because I've been there many times. She finally went after almost 4 years, and the reason is because her polls are crashing. She's not doing well because I don't believe the people of this country are stupid. I think they're very smart, and you're not going to let her ruin this country like she did San Francisco or Los Angeles. She ruined the entire state of California. She's trying to con the public, but remember, she is the one who terminated Remain in Mexico. I had a policy. It was not easy to get with the president of Mexico, who I got along with great, but he is a smart man, and he took advantage of our country. I said, we have to have Remain in Mexico. He looked at me like I was crazy. I said, no, I'm not. I want Remain in Mexico until we find out if these people are qualified to come in. And they stayed in Tijuana. They stayed all over Mexico, hundreds of thousands of people. And we took them in very, very slowly. I don't know if they can put up my world's favorite chart. I don't know. We're in a factory right now. We don't have billboards, I don't think. But the greatest chart, I love that chart because that chart saved my life. It was a chart on immigration. There was a chart on immigration, blue, gold, and red. I love it very much. If I didn't have that chart, I probably wouldn't be speaking to you right now. But it shows basically that we had the best and lowest immigration numbers, and that included drugs and human trafficking, a lot of other things that we've ever had in the history of our country. So Remain in Mexico. They canceled our asylum agreements with Central American nations, ended Title 42, a very important program, implemented nationwide catch and release. I had catch and release, but I catch and release in Mexico. We catch and release into the United States, never to see these people again until they murder somebody, and then we see them. And we allowed them, through absolute stupidity, to destroy the very fabric of our nation. Millions of people were allowed to come in totally unvetted, totally unchecked, from places unknown. I was with Tom Homan recently. He told me that the last check was they came in from 168 different countries. Most people don't even know there are that many countries. Actually, there are quite a bit more than that. 168 countries were represented with illegal aliens coming in. From the Congo in Africa, they come in a lot from the Congo. From jails in the Congo, they open their jails. From South America, Venezuela, all of the countries, they're letting them out of their prisons and jails. They're letting them out. Their jail population's way down. Their mental institution population. But this is all over the world. They come from the Middle East. They come from Asia. They come from parts of Europe. They come into our country. Many of them are major, major criminals, murderers. When Kamala speaks about the border, her credibility is less than zero. I hope you're going to remember that on Friday when she tells you about the border. Ask her just one simple question. Why didn't you do it 4 years ago? Why didn't you do it 4 years ago? They've got very little time left, thank God. Very little time left. Why? That's all you have to do. I give this to the fake news media because they don't cover it properly. They don't even talk about the border. Say, why didn't you do it 4 years ago when you first came in? Why are you waiting 3.5, almost 4 years? Kamala's migrant invasion has particularly devastated the black community and the Hispanic community, including all of the people, the jobs, what they've done. The jobs are going to illegal migrants that came into our country illegally. Our black population all over the country, our Hispanic population, are losing their jobs. They're citizens of America. They're losing their jobs. Most of the jobs that were created in our country, and all of the jobs, almost all, were bounce back. They came from me. Bounce back. Every pandemic has a big bounce back at the end of a pandemic, and we had a very quick bounce back. And we did a great job on the pandemic. Never got the credit I got for the military. We rebuilt it. We beat ISIS very quickly, very rapidly. They said it was going to take 5 years to beat ISIS. ISIS was defeated in 4 weeks. Our military is great. And outside of some of the people on the top, I know every one of them, outside of those people, our military is not woke. You could put some of these people into a room and scream at them for 2 years, and they'd walk out of that room. They wouldn't be woke. We have a great military, and they proved that with the defeat of ISIS. So last month, American-born workers lost 1.3 million jobs. This is last month. And of the 1.3 million jobs, migrants, illegal people that came in illegally into our country, got 635,000 jobs.